Well, after over 14 hours of NFL football today, a very exciting football game ends in a tie, the second highest scoring tie in NFL history, and the first tie since December 4th, 2022. The Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys end Sunday Night Football on a 40-40 tie on what was a very entertaining game. In this video, I'm going to break down the game from both teams' perspectives, give you guys my thoughts on where these teams stand after this game, and then as always, we will dive into the stats for my stat heads out there. If you're new to the channel and you love the NFL and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. Now, for this game, I think the first thing that I want to talk about is just the NFL's new overtime rules. Because of the playoff rules, but in regulation, I like the idea of both teams getting to possess the ball in overtime. I think we can all kind of agree there that that is the right choice. However, just copy the college rules, man. We need to see these games end in decisions. I don't want to see a tie. I don't want to watch, what is this, almost 4 hours of football. Great play from both of these two teams to be left looking at a tie. It's just not fun. Now, Green Bay's management, Matt LaFleur's management of this game, as soon as they got in field goal range, I felt like they were playing for the tie, which is lame, which is a lame outcome. The clock management at the end of the game was an absolute disgrace. I thought that the Packers were about to lose that game. Jordan Love lets 10 seconds basically run off the clock before getting that playoff. They were pretty lucky, to be honest, to have 1 second left on the clock for McManus to end the game in a tie. Super anticlimactic. I mean, shout out the Dallas Cowboys. People did not expect them to be in this game, let alone be up in overtime with 1 second remaining. I truthfully thought that they were going to win this game, and Green Bay almost gave it to them. It was just terrible clock management from Matt LaFleur in that Green Bay Packers offense in overtime. And it leaves me to think and wonder, can we trust Green Bay? Because after 2 weeks of the NFL season, many people, myself included, thought, holy shit, Green Bay might go and win the Super Bowl this year. They got Jordan Love. He could take another leap, a two-dimensional offense with Josh Jacobs. Matt LaFleur is one of the better head coaches in football, and that defense was absolutely firing. They stifled both the Detroit Lions and the Washington Commanders in back-to-back weeks, two of the best offenses in the NFL last year. And now, back-to-back these 2 weeks, they have suffered a loss to the Cleveland Browns and tied with the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, a team that last week was just embarrassed by the Chicago Bears. And now we sit here today, 1 month into the season, the Green Bay Packers are 2-1-1, and I wonder, can we still believe in this team? Are the Packers still trustworthy, and is it worth putting our stake in them to be a legit Super Bowl threat? I don't think that they could be referred to as a Super Bowl favorite at this point. They're no longer leading their division. The Detroit Lions are. The Philadelphia Eagles are 4-0. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 3-1 and have only lost to the 4-0 Eagles. Same deal for the Los Angeles Rams. So when it comes to contenders in the NFC, Green Bay is top 5, but they're closer to 5 than they are to 1. And we've seen a little bit of Jordan Love come back to, reality. The turnover versus Cleveland cost them the game. Tonight, not having the offense in a better position to win the game in overtime and getting a real shot, a real play at the end zone due to some clock management. And that's on Love, it's on LaFleur, it's on the whole offense. But Jordan Love is the leader, he is the captain. And when I look at the offense, is there a guy I trust to make big plays for Green Bay in big games? Romeo Doubs obviously had the 3 touchdowns tonight, but that was on 6 catches for 58 yards. Matthew Golden, 5 for 58, very strong hands. He had the 46-yarder, though. There's no real alpha in this Green Bay wide receiver room, and I know Packers fans will tell me that Romeo Doubs is, or that they have, a bunch of ones or some really solid options. There's no alpha. And in these big spots, in this big moment, where, hey, we know we're going to this guy, doesn't exist for Green Bay. Those are some current concerns that I have. And Jordan Love, is he good for a turnover in every single one of these games? He had a fumble in this one. The guy feels like he's good for a turnover a week. And if you are going to take that next leap and go win a Super Bowl, the play has to be better than what we've seen the last 2 weeks from Green Bay. There's no doubt about it. Now, I know I just crossed Jordan Love a little bit for the fumble, but the man did sling it tonight. 31 of 43, 337 yards, 3 touchdowns, a 118 passer rating, 28 rushing yards. Him and Dak Prescott, that was one of the better quarterback duos I can remember for a little while here. Dak was 31 of 40 for 319, 3 touchdowns, a 124.9 passer rating, no turnovers. Those guys were going back and forth. And I would, again, this is why in the beginning of this video, I said the NFL should adopt the college overtime rules because those boys would still be playing and still be slinging that rock. And they were absolutely dealing in this game. Again, I didn't like the confusion at the end for Green Bay. I don't like that Jordan Love's due for a turnover, but these guys are both in that top 10 to top 15 quarterback in the NFL range. And they were absolutely going after it tonight. For sure. For Dallas, I left this game impressed. I do believe that Green Bay is a true lock playoff team and still a legit Super Bowl contender. Not a favorite, but a contender. And for Dallas, after the loss to Chicago last week, you looked at their defense, CeeDee Lamb injury, it felt like, man, if they get embarrassed on Sunday Night Football, Micah Parsons has this massive homecoming or revenge game type beat, and they get embarrassed, their season's over. And it felt like those were the stakes. It felt like a playoff game tonight because of the pressure that was there for the Dallas Cowboys. And Dak Prescott, man, impressed the hell out of me. George Pickens, man, impressed the hell out of me. 8 for 134 and 2 touchdowns. Had that nasty catch early on in the game. Just kept finding ways to get open. Scored twice. The guy was an absolute beast tonight. Javonte Williams, they have a real run game. The offense is two-dimensional. The offensive line is looking nice. Their defensive line looked really solid tonight. I know Jordan Love was able to move the ball, but I thought that the pressure that the defensive line got, Jordan Love was making great throws. Both of those quarterbacks are making great throws off their back foot. It was some really, really good quarterbacking, some risky quarterbacking, some crazy throws. The Dak Prescott throw to Jalen Tolbert was filthy. I couldn't believe he got that. And then Jalen Tolbert looked like he was showing off some punting tracking skills to be able to bring that ball in. The Dallas Cowboys proved tonight that they're not dead when it comes to being a potential playoff team. In the NFC, it's going to be tough, man, because of some of the teams we already talked about with Philly, Detroit, Green Bay, the Rams, the Buccaneers. Then you look around the rest, the Commanders in the NFC East. You talk about the Falcons who beat the Commanders today to go to 2-2. You got the 49ers who are 3-1, the Seahawks who are 3-1. It's going to be an uphill battle. And I'm not saying that I'm picking the Cowboys to go there. But at the Jets next week, at the Panthers the week after that, the Cowboys, even without CeeDee Lamb, could very well be 3-2-1 in the, after the next 2 weeks. I absolutely think that they could beat those two teams. And then we'll see. Because if CeeDee Lamb's out there, the Dallas Cowboys probably have a top 10 offense in the entire sport. And if, sometimes it takes time, but if they could figure out that defense with Bland and Diggs healthy, the secondary isn't as bad as it was in the performance versus Chicago. So even though it's a tie, I left more impressed with Dallas and more skeptical of Green Bay because I felt this was a game that Green Bay should have won and would have won if they were a true Super Bowl favorite team. The best teams in the NFL find ways to win games like this. Green Bay found a way to tie. They didn't find a way to lose, but found a way to tie. I want to look at the stats here. For starters, the player stats. Obviously, as I mentioned, the two quarterbacks, read their stats earlier. Absolutely insane. Over 650 passing yards between the two of them. 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. Like a 121 passer rating combined. The QBs were playing fucking exquisite football tonight. Josh Jacobs and Javonte Williams, nearly identical lines. Obviously, the Packers offense was always going to be much more spread out. George Pickens had a really solid day. You get to the defense, Quay Walker, he had 11 total tackles. We did see a sack from Micah Parsons in this game. Nothing crazy stats wise, but that sack saved the game. That sack prevented Dak Prescott from, I believe, rushing in a touchdown and holding them to a field goal, which ultimately did result in the game ending in a tie. The pass deflections, um, Sanborn there. I thought Trayvon Diggs played a pretty solid game overall. That uh, read that he had on the screen to Golden for the tackle for loss was really, really impressive. And then we're going to go to the team stats here. And you could see here, again, a pretty even game, 32-26 in terms of first downs. Third down efficiency, 10 for 14, 4 of 11. So a little bit better in Green Bay's favor there. The total yards, 49 to 436 in favor of Green Bay. Um, the turnovers, obviously they had one more time of possession, just about even. Again, the stats you would expect to be close and even for two teams that just tied a football game. We didn't really learn too much additional there from the stats per se, but man, both of these teams put on a show. It was an entertaining game. I do wish that it would have ended with a winner one way or another. Unfortunately, we did not get there in this contest. But as I mentioned, left more impressed with Dallas, left more skeptical of Green Bay. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. How do you feel about both of these teams after this game? Do you still consider Green Bay the Super Bowl contender that you did 2 weeks ago, or have the last 2 weeks kind of pushed you off the ship? And what do you think about the Cowboys, man? If they can get to 3-2 against Carolina and the Jets and CeeDee Lamb can come back, do you believe that they have what it takes to potentially go on a playoff run? Again, if you made it this far in the video, you probably liked what you heard. Hit that thumbs up button. If you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel for all your NFL content. I'll be up here tomorrow reacting to every single game from NFL Week 4. Up here tomorrow night for the Monday Night Football games. Then we go into the Tuesday tier list and so on. So much NFL content coming your guys' way. I will catch you next time. Peace.